Pam's recording it. Okay, good. So I'm involved in these buying processes all the time. Here, we can actually set that down if you want, and you can sit down where it's comfortable.
Yeah, but maybe it's not loud enough.
It's loud enough. It'll be fine. So I work through these processes all the time, Tim, and because this means so much to you, and because we've uncovered 2 to 3 critical challenges that we're helping you overcome, I want to make sure we have a chance to talk about this, because there's 2 paths that we can go from here. One, in my experience, has about an 80% failure rate. The other has about an 80% success rate. So would you mind if we talk about this for a second before we decide on next steps and how we're going to proceed? Yeah. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. In situations where the buyer takes this information and goes and presents it to their manager, there's a few things that go wrong there. The manager or the budget owner, whatever term is I'm using, they haven't seen the demo. They haven't been a part of the conversation where we talked about the value that the tool provides to you and specifically how it's going to help you overcome those challenges. Now, I know you've communicated those challenges to them, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's really important that we get them up to speed and that they have a chance to see, like you did, the impact, right? How we're solving those challenges. And then it's important that we go line by line through the pricing together, because if the pricing is outside of the budget, they're going to want to change the configuration on the software to bring it down within the budget. That could be a big problem for you, because it might cause us to eliminate features or functionality that's really important to you as the buyer. So it's really important, if we want to take the approach that leads to an 80% success rate, that we get Jim, the CFO, on a call with us in a couple of days. We'll walk through a brief demo, an explanation of the value. You'll have a chance to articulate the value personally to him. And then we'll go through the proposal line by line together and identify, are we within the realm of the budget or not? If we're not, then we can change the configuration levels, but it's really important that you're involved in that conversation. We don't want to sacrifice any features that are important to you. And at the same time, we want Jim on the call so that we can make sure when we're done with that conversation that he's given us a green light on the budget and we're good to move forward together. At the end of that call, once we have the green light, which we get 80% of the time when we do it this way, then I'll put on my project management hat. We'll actually plan out our timeline leading up to your go live date, which you told me was March 15th. And we'll talk about every step that needs to be done, the legal review, the information security review, and we'll make sure that we have a plan moving forward. In my experience, that's what it's going to take to have us successfully move through this. I've got time available on Thursday and Friday in the afternoon. What time do you think would work best within Jim's schedule?
Yeah.
I'm not asking Tim, what do you think about that idea, right? That's not what you do when you're leading, right? I'm telling you, here's what we need to do in a nice, polite, friendly way.
Yeah.
I'm explaining to you why it's important that we proceed that way, right? And then I'm telling you, let's get it scheduled. Yeah. And when you do it that way, what happens is they think about it, they're thinking it over, right? And they generally agree. Sometimes they come back and say, no, Jim's too busy. He's trusted me with this project. I appreciate that, Greg, but I'm confident I can run with this, right? At that point, you know that statistically you're unlikely to win it. And you tried to win it. Now, fortunately, you've been working your multi-touch outreach plan. You've got a huge pipeline, so you don't have to worry if you lose this one because you've got plenty of other wins waiting, right? But what happens most of the time is they say, yeah, I can see your point. I think that's a good idea, because they don't know, right? Let's get Jim on the call. I like that. And we'll work through it together. And then they get the catalyst on the call, and we work through it just like we did. And we get next steps in place and leading up to the go live date. And we're mapping that project up to completion, right?
It helps them look more confident to their boss.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because the boss is going to ask, and I'll tell them this, the boss is going to ask you questions that you don't know the answer to. Tough questions, right? They're going to not fully understand the value, right? So it's really important that we have a chance to talk through it together, show them the value. That's going to make a big impact on our ability to get a successful outcome. Because if I haven't done my job and I haven't identified the 2 to 3 critical areas for Tim, if all I did was be a salesperson and show up and click, 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 click through the slides, this isn't going to work. The reason this works is because we're actually able to add value, and it's really important to Tim. You see what I'm saying?
And that's what you reevaluated before. After you gave him the demo, you're saying, "Oh, let me go back to the points you told me." Blah. That's what make him reevaluate the points before.
That's right, exactly. So you're really leading them through this decision-making process without making it obvious. You're giving them the opportunity to save face, to make the right decision, and they want a successful outcome too, right? So it works really, really well. If you do this and you learn to watch for that signal, you learn to watch for them saying, hey, I'm going to take this to my boss and get the green light on the budget. If you take that as your cue to cut in and take command and control, your close rate on those opportunities is going to go way up.
Would it be equally good if